The young man before you is named Brandon Risner, and he was only 21 years old at this moment. His parents stood next to him, collapsing in despair, as there was absolutely nothing they could do but pray.
Rachel, Jeremy, if y'all can have a seat out here. Would you like to talk in private?
On a cold November morning in 2022, police in Rome, Georgia, discovered a Toyota Prius. The car was abandoned in a stream with its water tank empty, and no one was found inside.
On a cold November morning in 2022, a ditched Toyota Prius would be discovered by officers in Rome, Georgia.
This scene was a complete puzzle for the police, as they could not understand what had happened. Why was the car abandoned? Where did the person inside go? And was a cold-blooded killer involved? Follow along with me, and we will learn the secrets of this strange case together. The way the car was found was strange, as there were no signs that it was speeding. It was as if the driver just kept going straight until the car fell into the water. Police thought he may have forgotten to park it, allowing it to roll into the stream. The vehicle's lights were still on, but its engine would not start for the authorities. A tow truck arrived and pulled the car from the waterway. Police then looked at the license plate, quickly identifying the car's owner. It belonged to a 21-year-old man named Aaron Davis. Because Rome, Georgia is a very small town, police already knew the family. A lieutenant called Aaron's father, who was shocked and had no answers. The abandoned car was a complete mystery to him, but he gave police important information. Aaron was going to visit his friend, Brandon Risner. The two were friends since middle school and had remained close through university. Aaron recently graduated and decided to make the 60-mile trip to celebrate with Brandon. But an hour after he left, he vanished and stopped answering his phone. So Aaron's father reported his son missing, and police began their investigation. Their first logical step was to call Brandon, who was the last person meant to see Aaron.
Hey, I'm Lieutenant Sailors, Rome Police. You doing all right today?
Yes, I am. I'm looking for my friend right now.
Yeah, that's what I was calling about. You hadn't heard from him?
I have not. I've tried calling him and it's just gone straight to voicemail. And I heard he was at Heritage Park, so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm looking around. Do you guys know where the car was?
Yeah, it was in a ditch over there. When's the last time you saw Aaron?
Police told Brandon they found Aaron's car and asked when he last saw his friend. Brandon said they were together yesterday, celebrating and drinking until midnight. He claimed Aaron got a severe stomach ache and started vomiting, but didn't ask for any help. Then, his friend and his car disappeared at dawn, and he found no trace of Aaron after that. The officer told Brandon to call if Aaron reached out, and then they ended the phone call. So far, Brandon's story seemed logical, and he even acted worried about his friend. But he was the main person of interest, so police needed to know what really happened to Aaron. A few hours later, they went to his house to question him again, this time face to face.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Officer Gar with the Rome Police Department. We're following up on all this. Can you walk me through what's going on? Just make sure we're all on the same page.
An officer at the door said, "We're here for the report, and can you tell us what happened?" Brandon began explaining that he and Aaron were drinking and celebrating last night. Suddenly, Aaron went upstairs to the bathroom with a severe stomach ache from drinking. Brandon claimed he got worried, went to check on him, and asked if he needed anything. But Aaron said no, telling him to go back down, as he just wanted to rest for a while. Brandon said he showered, slept, and woke up around 2 a.m. to find Aaron's car gone. His story was a little strange, but so far, it did not seem impossible. Police wondered why Aaron wasn't answering. Perhaps he was in a hotel or wanted to be alone. But just to be sure, an officer asked if they could search the house. Brandon replied he had no problem, so officers entered and began to look around. As officers searched, they found strange things, including several locked doors. One locked door was particularly suspicious, as it led to the room where Aaron was staying. Feeling this was very strange, Police asked Brandon to come inside and show them around.
The bathroom is up there that he was up checking in. I got you. Oh, Lord. Is that what's in the laundry right now, I guess? Okay.
Officers would notice a strong chemical smell coming from the room and find excessive amounts of cleaning supplies.
As Brandon showed them around, they entered a room that smelled strongly of cleaning agents. They also found a large supply of detergents, but that was nothing compared to what they saw next. A lot of blood was scattered all over the floor near the bed. They immediately asked Brandon for an explanation. He claimed it was from Aaron vomiting due to alcohol. But the officers knew someone with alcohol poisoning is too weak to just get up and leave. Brandon's story was now very suspicious, and the blood and cleaning supplies were a bad sign. He felt the police suspecting him when they entered the room, so he did something very strange.
Oh, my knees. Keep going. Hey, don't quit. Put down. He jumped the fence, headed back towards Collinwood.
Brandon suddenly ran from the house, jumped a fence, and fled into the neighborhood. Police began searching everywhere, but he was able to escape from them. They went from house to house asking people, but no one knew where he had gone. While searching, an officer saw a neighbor on the phone with Brandon's father, Jeremy. The officer took the phone, but even Jeremy didn't know where his son was. Jeremy went home to help the investigation, where he found Brandon's cell phone. From that moment, everything changed. Jeremy, who had been cooperative, suddenly stopped. He refused to give officers the phone, not wanting his son judged until his guilt was proven. Hours passed with no sign of Brandon, so police spoke to Jeremy a second time. His tone changed and he seemed conflicted, wanting to give them the phone but still hesitating. An officer was frank, saying, "We found a lot of blood upstairs, all over the carpet." He said cooperation was in his favor, but Jeremy still tried to protect his son. He insisted he wouldn't give them the phone until they came back with a warrant. The officer felt something scary was on that phone, and his gut feeling was correct. Finally, Jeremy decided to cooperate and handed over Brandon's phone. In the Notes app, police found disturbing and unnatural writing. One note read, "His scream turned into a gurgle when he swallowed his phone." Another said, "I love the darkness in which my mind melts." He also had a to-do list made after Aaron died, listing chores like sweep the house. Jeremy must have seen these notes first and known his son was the one who killed Aaron. An hour later, he called police to say he was with Brandon, who was ready to surrender. 15 minutes later, they both arrived at the police station.
You're with Brandon. Rachel. Jeremy. Thank you.
It was clear the father was affected. He cried over his son before handing him to the police. The officers began their investigation, wanting to know exactly what happened. An officer first asked Brandon, "Do you have anything in your pockets? I need to know right now." Brandon said he only had his wallet and keys, then said no again and was asked to sit down. An investigator began the questioning, hoping to get a confession or new information. He started by taking Brandon's basic details and then explained the legal process. "You have the right to remain silent and the right to a lawyer before we ask you anything."
So I'm gonna read you some stuff before we get started, okay? You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you are asked questions and have him with you during questioning.
I would like to.
You would like a lawyer, okay?
Brandon chose to remain silent and decided to wait for a lawyer. He knew this was best, as anything he said could be used against him in court. The investigator was not happy, but surprisingly, Brandon's family was ready to talk. He went to them, and Brandon's father, Jeremy, told the police everything. "I can take you to the place," he said, referring to where Aaron's body was. When asked for the location, his father said it was in an old cemetery. But the smart investigator wanted more, asking about Brandon's life before they left. He learned Brandon suffers from anxiety, mental illnesses, suicidal thoughts, and delusions. His father said they tried helping with treatment, but his condition never improved. Jeremy recalled Brandon calling that morning with a stomachache, and that was the last they heard. A few hours later, they learned he had fled from the police. Perhaps his actions were due to illness, or his father wanted him to seem insane for a lighter sentence. Now knowing the location, police teams went to the cemetery Journey described. There they found Aaron's body buried in a very remote place.
Aaron was found buried in the cemetery, behind a secluded area in the back of the property.
Strangely, they found his body wrapped in the same suit he had slept in at Brandon's house. This detail confirmed everything, proving Brandon Reisner was the cold-blooded killer behind the murder. They arrested Brandon for murdering his childhood friend, Aaron Davis, and transferred him to jail. But the police's investigation was still not over yet.
This is his property. You got ID in here if you want to.
For me?
No, we're talking to you.
Oh.
You got your ID in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Police said Brandon was very calm and strangely cold, as the serious matter did not seem to interest him. Although police had arrested Brandon, the case was not over. They still had one very difficult job to do. They had to inform Aaron's family that their son had been murdered, and their reaction was truly tragic.
Why you do that? We need my son. The family needs him. Oh my God.
Aaron was a good person who just graduated, with a future that was bright and full of promise. His sudden death was a horrible and evil act. Sources do not state a clear motive, but we know Brandon had psychological disorders. For this reason, justice had to be served to honor Aaron's family. The day of the trial finally arrived, beginning on July 18th, 2024. Brandon had no real defense, and his claim of not being in his right mind was rejected. The judge delivered his sentence, life in prison with no chance of ever being released. He confessed to the murder of Aaron Davis. And that is the end of our story. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.